jumped again.
Not to worry, gamercal. We'll still let you play.
He knows what save and quit options he has. Oh, here we go.
Well, a heart piece isn't a mushroom, Futon. I'm sorry.
Could have been.
It could have been, as Jenya checks back inside that house, verifies it is indeed a house. We're going to see most of the runners head off to the castle and the uncle escape to start out.
Yeah, and DT started in Sanctuary and picked up 20 rupees, so he knows what is in both of those starting zones.
Okay, eLmaGus giving us the first tree pull. We see it's 4 blue rupees. Not a terrible one, but certainly not what they were hoping for, often wanting bombs or 20 rupees. Uncle's holding a bottle today.
Yeah, with the route they're taking right now, finding either one of those would be great, because you're probably going to do 1 or 2 more tree pulls on the way.
And just a piece of heart at the end of the Uncle pathway.
That bottle's really nice, because now it means they can clear out the sick kid when they do the village, which will be their next destination. Interesting thing here is some players will opt to go from Link's house down and pick up bombs on the way to the village. I think DT might be the only one who does it, though.
Certainly looks like he's going that way right now, as the other runners, all 3 taking the north path.
Yeah, the interesting thing for that is the south path gets you 2 bombs. Well, it's not a guaranteed bombs, but you have a 50-50 on 2 different bomb locations, which you can kind of farm beforehand. DT's grabbing them right now. Oh, you might not know about the other one. I think he grabbed the wrong bushes.
And it looks like the Hoarder is giving out arrows today.
Could be pretty useful if they find a bow.
gamercal farming up some tree pulls here. And eLmaGus checked the Lumberjack Cave. I didn't see what it was. And I can't quite see on Jenya's stream.
I'll have to see again on the actual speed gaming channel because it's got a better resolution.
Looks like it's just a red rupee in the Lumberjack Cave. So, Ega possibly not required, but we never know.
Yeah, well, his chests will be randomized, so there might be a tower check, but Aghanim 1 itself is very unlikely. Which is another benefit to Keysanity, is you almost never have to make that boss fight. I'm not sure if DT checked this already.
We do see that the players have picked up the map to Ganon's Tower, where it very nicely says, you know, if you're not in the dungeon, you pick that up. It says, this is for Ganon's Tower. We see that also at the race game with that small key that DT picked up.
Yep. Also for Ganon's Tower, not useful if they find the big key early, but it could become something important if, say, the pedestal is required for like a hookshot or something. And
now,
need,
that's nasty.
Tower.
Exactly. The key in the library.
Yep. Those keys can be really, really bad at times. Often making some of those trolley locations a little more common.
And Sick Kid giving one of, I believe, 6 possible small keys for Dark Palace.
Yep, it's going to be the opener of the gate for them in pod if they don't have a bow by the time they get there.
And we see our runners continuing on with a pretty standard opening, just buying bombs where they can, heading into buildings and checking the chests that are available. gamercal in blinds, or the Thieves hideout, comes up with a compass. A compass? A flute.
Ooh.
And 50 bucks.
Unfortunately for him, he did not get the rupees for bombs earlier, so he'll have to make that trip back down.
No, and I think eLmaGus and now Jenya found the real treasure so far, which is Moon Pearl in the chicken house.
That is a good find. With that flute giving them Death Mountain access to, you kind of hope for some mitts. That's a good find.
There's a sword for eLmaGus in the well.
This is definitely not the worst Kakariko.
finding actual bombs in the well as a nice little twist, and a Master Sword upgrade seconds after that first sword.
Are we going to see an Agus Tower first chest being required before they can finally leave the light world?
Oh, that would get a bit mean there.
Yeah, they might not think about it right away, so it could.
I suppose you can access that first chest without a key and without the lamp.
Yeah, it's definitely not one that's usually on your mind because you go into Keysanity, usually having played randos before and not thinking about that chest option.
That's right. Normally, Aga Tower is just a time sink for rando players, but here it's got 2 chests, and all chests are a lot closer to being equal now.
They're all equally trolly.
So yes, both small keys for Aghanim's Tower are in the mix. They can be pretty much anywhere in the game, unless Aga's required for Dark World access. And 1 chest is locked behind 1 door.
With the flute being activated here for eLmaGus, I believe other players have already done that. Probably about to see our first divergence very soon, since some of the players are heading to the bottom now. DT, having already checked that, will probably be fluting out once he gets out of this. Or has he not found his flute yet? No, he just got it, okay.
He just picked up his flute. He'll be checking it.
I believe he actually didn't have bombs the first trip there, so he might have already had it, but just didn't activate it. Or didn't have the bombs ready for the second half, so he's already got it and activated, I believe.
Okay. Meanwhile, gamercal picks up his Master Sword from the well, starts heading south, as Jenja and eLmaGus have found that nasty, nasty anxiety key.
Yeah, you really hope that's something like Skullwoods or there, something on that.
Yeah, the key will tell you what it is when you pick it up, but you can't tell just from looking at it.
Yeah, and that's a really trolly thing when it's, say, an Aga's lumberjack there, when you think Aghanim might be required because you see a key there, and then it's for like something you don't really need at all, like mire or swamp, or not
That's
swamp,
right.
Skullwoods.
So eLmaGus, first to flute out of the village, and he's going to head up straight to Death Mountain, do that dark room, and pick up the old man.
Yeah, the save and quit might not be really relevant because he already has the flute, but getting that done along with the follow-up chest on the top will be a good choice to make.
Jenja, meanwhile, in the south, just finding 20 rupees at the dam. Now he's going to drain that and see what's outside. As the old man just provides bombs, and it looks like DT raised enough money to buy bombs from the bottle vendor as well.
I guess he didn't have the funds to do so earlier, and I had to go find some in the Lost Woods.
Jenja finds a small key to Turtle Rock, something he's not likely to need for some time yet.
Yep, the small keys for Turtle Rock are all relevant, but that one not going to be used in a long time, I assume.
All right,
Jenja. Not a map check yet.
Well, I'll speak to that just as soon as Jenja clears this out. Gets a tempered sword in the mini Moldorm cave. Another pod small key and a butter sword. 9 minutes into this seed, we have seen all 4 swords. That's pretty remarkable. And watch this sync from eLmaGus and gamercal. They might even get their butter swords within seconds of each other.
Yeah, it looks like eLmaGus will take a little bit of a speed lead on him, but they'll probably get it within a couple seconds at most. And pretty much every enemy that doesn't require arrows to kill from now on will be kind of just, well, butter to them.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we like to call it that. So, as you mentioned, we haven't seen a map check out of any runners yet. That's because, and this is one of my favorite parts of Keysanity, looking at the map doesn't tell you if a dungeon is a crystal or a pendant until you've picked up the map for that dungeon.
It's always one that's hard to remember. I mentioned that before we started, but as you can clearly see because I asked, I already forgot.
So it'll be some time before we actually find out what dungeons are holding what. Now, you might be thinking, okay, these are smart runners. They can just walk into a dungeon, listen to the music, and figure out what the reward is in that dungeon. The devs have thought about that, of course. They've randomized the music in your dungeons.
Yep, there's no easy way to tell. You just have to either finish it and hope, or get the maps.
And I think
we'll
be seeing a bit of both of those tactics today.
Yeah, I know a few runners I've seen never check their map, even in just in Keysanity, because they don't really feel checking the map for every map they get is worth it.
Well, and especially in Keysanity with so many items that are going to be needed, you usually visit every dungeon to some degree or another.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you just clear dungeons until you have all your items, and by that point you have all your crystals.
Yeah, and once they find that pedestal has nothing, they won't really be worried about pendant dungeons anymore, but up until that point they're probably going to clear every single one on the way.
That's right, and eLmaGus and gamercal do show us that if you talk to Sahasrahla, he'll still tell you where that green pendant is. And today, it's in Ice Palace. Looks like Jenja has bothered to climb all the way up to Spectacle Rock, which the others didn't do, and he sees that there's a hammer inside.
Ooh, that's a really good find. Not helping him right now, but it definitely will the second he gets, say, the gloves or a mirror.
Gloves is all they need for Dark World access, as DT uses fake flippers to get to the waterfall cave and finds the cane of Burna, that blue cane that causes lag.
The laggy cane will probably be helpful at some point since Spike Cave is in this, and they're not too far away from actually already being able to do Spike Cave. So
that's right, and it doesn't just cause lag; it also protects you and damages enemies. It's not entirely terrible. We did see DT check Zora Ledge. It only had 5 rupees, so he was out of there very quickly.
Yep, with the dungeon items being rolled into the game, it's really hard to get early cash for this type of thing, so either go back to hula-hanning at the start, or just assume you're not going to get the Zora funds for a while.
Yeah, so all 4 runners now making their way through Eastern Palace. Still a common place to check, just because of how accessible it is at the start of the game. So far, we've just seen a heart container of real value out of it.
Yeah, not too much so far. They also have, all of them are, as we've mentioned, extremely skilled runners. They won't have any trouble doing the dark room, so it's an extra chest there that they'll get a little bit of information from.
That's right. Now, the big wrench that Keysanity starts to throw into your plans is, they'll be able to check all the way to the vanilla big key chest, but that big chest, oh, there's the glove for eLmaGus. And gamercal's going to pick it up in just a second here.
It's an excellent find, and if they had seen what Jenja saw, they would have Dark World access right now, but they still have to go up that mountain.
So that big chest that gamercal just walked by, that's going to stay locked to them because they can't guarantee they're going to get the Eastern big key right now. So, all these big chests in dungeons are going to be orphaned the first time they go into dungeons, unless they've already picked up that big key. It really changes what your progression for a dungeon is.
Yep, it kind of makes several big keys more of a fetch quest at that point, because some of them aren't required for their dungeon at all.
Yeah, and I think you are too, thinking of Swamp Palace and Skull Woods, exactly. And Ice Palace if you do the bomb jump.
I'm sure all 4 of these players know at least one bomb jump in there.
I'm certain gamercal knows several, since he's made numerous training videos on YouTube for us.
That is true.
And just 10 arrows in the vanilla big key chest of Eastern Palace.
So I guess we know exactly where they need to go, which is up the mountain for their hammers so they can go to Dark World. Jenja probably going to be the first player to actually run around in the Dark World.
That's right. eLmaGus going to take advantage of that glove and go into the back of Escape, while gamercal takes on the front of Escape.
Yep, and oddly enough, this could have the other glove, which would give them Dark World access as well.
And nothing of value in the back of Escape, as DT and Jenya pick up their own gloves.
It would be interesting for gamercal if you found the mirror in here, because then you could go check Agus Tower if you really felt like it, for that one chest that he has available to him.
That's right. He still could, but it would require setting up a death warp.
Yeah. It's, and probably not on his mind right now. It's kind of a rare thing to think about. If he does set it up, I assume he's going to be doing a dark room going up towards the back half.
Well, eLmaGus is not bothering with the basement right now, going straight through to the dark room.
It's an interesting take, though. I think you can die just as easily in that dark room with the chest in it, since there's about 3 of the snakes, I believe they're called ropes, and a keys or 2 in there.
Oh, and gamercal finds the big key of Eastern Palace halfway through the castle basement.
That's really unfortunate, and perhaps they'll think about going here first next time, since there's no key requirements in the escape area.
That raises such an obnoxious question of, is it worth my time to go back in there and look?
I would assume he's going to save that until he finds the bow, if he can find it outside of that chest. He is setting up a death warp. I'm not sure what his plan will be. Hopefully he doesn't die before it. Okay. Now, did DT die after or before the final chest in Eastern?
I believe DT got all the way to that chest.
Okay, that's good, because I did see him die in Eastern, so I was a little concerned for a second, because I had that happen to me in one of my tournament races. It's not a good feeling to have to go back for that chest.
No. And gamercal is going to take on Aga Tower at this point.
I'm very surprised by that choice instead of going to the dark room in the middle of the sewers.
That's right, and it looks like eLmaGus found a small key for, I think it was Desert Palace, Chad is saying.
That's a good find. So that opens up all of Desert aside from the torch.
As gamercal finds a shovel, that's a bit of a fetch quest to deal with right now.
And with pretty much immediate access to the dark world for the players that will go up the mountain and get the hammer, it might be a bit of a trolley item for them later.
As Jenya enters Hype Cave, finds the big key of Turtle Rock, 10 arrows, a boring compass, a small key for Turtle Rock.
Getting a lot of Turtle Rock attention here.
I'm getting a very Turtle Rock vibe from this seed so far. I'm okay with that.
And yet, none of the items to open it are anywhere nearby. We've got a hammer and a sword, but not too much else.
We're going to need a bit more.
Jenya might be heading to Pod, since I believe he has 2 keys for it already, after this check over here.
And gamercal's going to head to Agina's Cave. We saw him check the desert ledge, and it was just rupees. And DT is going to take on the Dark World, but starting from the village.
Yep, it's I've noticed a lot of the high-end players take this path to get into the Dark World first, which is I find interesting because I hate going this way. It's really slow to me, but I think it gives you the better routing options starting up here.
So eLmaGus is going to head up Aga Tower, get his shovel, and come back out finding the fetch quest doesn't really lead anywhere, as DT heads into Skull Woods. Possibly. As DT heads into the back part of Skull Woods.
gamercal, we can't tell right now, but he is in fact doing the dark room on the mountain, getting his old man done, so he'll probably be getting the hammer real soon. And Jenja is in fact in pod right now.
Okay, did you manage to see what he picked up from the pyramid?
I did not, and I also missed the first chest in pod as well. The shovel spot, I didn't see gamercal get it, but eLmaGus can double check for me that it's absolutely nothing.
Oh, it was something. I just can't remember what it was because it was something not very good at all.
It was blue rupees.
So we'll work on getting those bottom two strings back as DT
Wow.
finds the hookshot.
That is a huge find.
So that is actually Eastern Death Mountain open for them. All the way
Along
up to
the
Tower of
Hera.
Hera if they want.
Wow.
And there's the flippers.
Swamp is a wonderful place. That's Skullwoods. I'll make that mistake a few times.
Well, speaking of swamp, you know, at this point, all they need is a mirror, and they can go and clear that place out.
Have they found the small?
That's right. Swamp Palace, of course, blocked by that first small key.
Ooh.
It still has that one chest, but
Yep.
that chest has just moved up a bit.
I believe gamercal just did a bomb jump to get across the gap after picking up that hammer, which is kind of nice, although not much else he can do there, so he's going to fluke back to... So he'll be getting into the Dark World around Hype Cave to start. I've yet to see anything good out of Jenja's pod play right now, but I haven't seen any of the chests to make sure. He just got the cape, actually, right out of the turtle room chest.
Alright, DT's going to check Cape Cave for us and see that it's a big key up on Bumper Cave. So, that cape's going to come in handy.
Is eLmaGus going back into Eastern here?
He is. That's a long, long trip for just one chest. Of course, he got that Eastern Palace big key from the castle basement, but it's a long way to go without the bow. There's the red cane of Samaria for In the Name of DT, hiding in the C-shaped house. So, looks like he's made a powerful play by starting off in the village and finding all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it's just going to keep working out for him right now. He can also finish all of Thieves Town. The only thing he can't do is get that big chest. Even with the big... Well, I guess he can only do the front half because he doesn't have the big key yet either. I forgot about that.
And now we have the map of Ice Palace, which from a map check would tell us what pendant it is. Unfortunately, that's not helpful. We already talked to Sahasrahla. We learned it's green pendant there.
Yeah, well, a few players checked for it. I'm not sure if all of them did, but I know that 2 players did talk to him.
That's right. And there's your mushroom in Thieves Town.
Yeah, there we go. And eLmaGus found a heart in the big chest of Eastern, so nothing good there. Just a piece of heart, not a full one. We'll
Right,
finally go check this and remember where that hammer is. gamercal is also making the pod play, Jenja having finished up with what he could do there and is now going towards the Village of Outcasts area, perhaps starting with Skullwoods.
Well, that's Bombos.
Yeah, they are now mitts away from having some decent access to Ice Palace. Only, I believe, technically none of the keys are required if you know the bomb jumps, which they do.
That's right. The logic is still going to expect them to have some keys, especially if they start opening too many chests. The logic's going to have provided keys somewhere else for that, but they can definitely get to Cold Stare and pick up that green pendant. Ooh. Wish it wasn't a green pendant.
And a red pendant in pod, so that's another dungeon that isn't worth the time. And from what we've found on the other players' screens that we can't see, both of them went to pot already. Oh, we're back. Good.
Oh, we're back. As Jenya picks up his hookshot in Skull Woods.
We'll get a bit more information from what Pod had from gamercal here, since we missed all of it. Aside from the Cape and Turtle Room, I know that much.
And DT is going to take on the digging game. "21 digs later, a small key to Ganon's tower, right where there was a small key to GT in the light world." Super helpful game.
Exactly. Not what you're wanting to find right now.
And it looks like Desert Palace and Thieves Town are going to have crystals 5 and 6. eLmaGus learns that from talking to the bomb vendor.
It's definitely a really important check to know about when you're playing this version of the game. They're one pendant away from narrowing down every single reward in the game.
So at this point, between all of the runners, we've seen them clear as much as they can of Skull Woods, of Eastern, of Pod, and of Thieves Town. Where can they go best next?
It looks like a good play would be the East Death Mountain area. I believe they got now upwards of 10 chests opened up.
That's right, they can't get into the Dark World just yet. So that'll limit them slightly. But they'll be able to get into a bit of Hera, although they'll find themselves locked pretty quickly without any keys.
Yeah, they need a big key to get pretty much everything done in Hera, unfortunately. Most of the dungeons, the big key is just a chest and the boss, but Hera is one of those ones where you can get to it, and you can check one item location, but that's it.
2.
Well, if you have the small key, too.
No, there's
Oh,
2
I'm
chests.
thinking of just the basement one. Yep, you're right. The middle one in the main room is
As
kind
long
of
as you have a
important.
way of hitting those crystal switches.
Which, 9-minute gold sword, they might be able to
I'd
do
say
that.
so. And our trackers are just finishing up now, getting caught up on all that tracking after we lost the 2 runners. There's the big key to Desert Palace, but thank you so much to our trackers for the work they do.
Yeah, it's a bit hard when the streams disappear like that, but
Yeah.
excellent job keeping up.
Drake,
Gamercal choosing to
Tempest,
walk.
and Terminal Crowbar are your trackers tonight. Big thanks to them for their help.
Is this going to be a catfish check, or has he just not been to Pyramid yet? Looks like he hasn't been to Pyramid yet.
Looks like he hasn't been to Pyramid. DT definitely going all the way to Catfish.
Yeah, I imagine he's going to plan to save and quit out and go up the mountain from there, since I think he is our most advanced runner in terms of knowledge. Or he hasn't been to Pod yet, though, so we might opt to go there. Did I see that correctly? What was on the pyramid?
That was a small key for Pod.
I read Swamp Pals. I was like, wow, that is huge, but just Pod, not great. A little bit unfortunate that gamercal found it after finishing with Pod.
That's right. And DT finding just a piece of heart at Catfish today.
Although he is not going up the... Ooh, fluting. Are we going to Pod or are we going up the mountain? Oh, I know what he's doing. He might be burning his magic real quick.
He is going to do a magic bat check with the mushroom.
We're going to see a somewhat new glitch found, which is the extremely not explainable mushroom check on the magic bat.
Oh, it's very simple. If you use the Cane of Samaria when you have no magic, and then switch to the powder, you will powder something. And because they have the same spot in the menu, mushroom is kind of powder.
Yeah.
Don't
Cane of
think about it
Samaria
too hard.
easily the most broken. Whoa!
Oh, and there's a lamp.
Now that is a good sequence break. It's definitely a good item to find in the lamp, and also the Cane of Samaria is the most broken item in the entire game. You can do some completely backwards things with it.
So, amusingly, this means dark rooms are now super easy for DT to take on. But despite having that light cone, any dark rooms he chooses to complete will still technically be sequence breaks.
Yeah, and everything until he finds that powder with a dark room in front of him will be a sequence break, so that's probably going to be somewhere easy to find.
Oh, and that mushroom turns into a book, which he can... I wouldn't be surprised to see him now go immediately to Desert Palace.
And there he goes. Just a big key away from finishing the entire dungeon, I believe. I'm not too sure how many big keys we found. Oh, that map check actually tells me only Turtle Rock. Or menu check, not map check. So Jenja finally doing the mountain check that I thought was going to be a lot sooner. It's a lot of chests. It's a bit smart routing here from gamercal, actually. He's chosen not to loot the chest in the room prior because he knows that he won't have a small key for that door, so we will have to go back, and this way the holes in the ground are not going to slow him down at all.
That's right. And Jenja finding the mirror in the lower half of Paradox Cave.
It's an excellent find if you ever want to go to Hera without using that long route.
Wow! As DT finds the boots in Desert Palace.
That is huge!
Now, I missed what was on that torch, but it clearly wasn't very good, or DT would be going back to pick it up.
I don't know if he checked it or not. I didn't see it. That is an excellent find. This is an odd path for him to take.
I think he hasn't been to Agina's cave yet. As Jenja beats that bomb jump, and I think is going to head over to Tower of Hera.
Now, did they not find a small key for desert? I thought we were told that they did.
eLmaGus did, when he took on the dark basement of the castle.
Oh, that's right.
Or the dark
no one else
sewers.
Has done that yet. So once eLmaGus makes that play on desert with the mushroom, he will get a little bit of a faster routing there, unless the big key is equally trolly. So right now a big item that they're looking for would probably be the mitts. It unlocks Ice Palace, which they have full capability of completing with that Bombos tablet. Although without the big key, the chest there is kind of a, you hope it's nothing important.
Alright, and chat's telling us that powder was on the floating island up on Death Mountain, eastern side.
So that means the lamp is blocked behind mitts, along with... No, just the lamp. So lamp is
That's
behind
right.
mitts right now.
Yeah, Jenja's got that mirror already, so that'll cover that. And eLmaGus is going to check the hobo for us. I don't think we've seen this play yet.
No, I believe I saw DT go straight in. Actually, I'm not too sure what DT did, because I don't know if he had the flippers when he went to Hobo or the Zora area.
As DT finds another small key to Ganon's tower, looks like eLmaGus just got a bunch of rupees from the hobo.
And gamercal is going to collect a big key, and it will be for Desert, which is an excellent find.
Yeah, I feel like another runner just picked that up as well. As Jenja picks up the small key for Hyrule Castle, which has no value for them at this point. eLmaGus can get that other book, and Desert now looking very attractive as an option for him.
Yeah, hopefully he either got the big key already or will be going up towards the area to find it
Well,
soon.
I don't think eLmaGus has been to pod yet because he doesn't have the cape.
That's very true.
DT gives us a pedestal check, and it's just a shield upgrade today. So definitely not required with cape and Cane of Burna both available.
Yeah,
That is not going to work.
shield not mattering.
Chad, if you were hoping for a pedestal seed, I'm sorry. Try again next time.
Which is somewhat surprising because Keysanity can be really mean for some pedestal items.
So eLmaGus is going to head all the way to Zora. He's managed to get over 500 rupees. This will be the first time we see this spot checked.
Yeah, it's not a small task getting that money to Keysanity, so he's going to really hope this pays off.
Looks like we might see a similar play out of Gem here. And it's just a bomb upgrade. 100 rupees per extra bomb that you can carry from Zora. Is that worth 500 to you today?
Maybe not this seed, but some seeds I would pay for that.
Some seeds where you won't have Buttersword when you get to Vitreous. That's a bit nicer to have.
Yeah, exactly. It's not common that you run out of bombs in randomizers. I'm trying to think here, what have they not checked yet at all?
Well, there's the remainder of Desert. There's the Ether Tablet, which DT is going to have available in just a second. Even the Bombos Tablet is going to be available to them right now, as well as that first chest in Swamp. Still can't do all of Swamp without the small key.
Yep, and that chest can be really, really awful, I would describe it as.
Oh yeah, it can absolutely have something, but you would never want to spend the 2 to 3 minutes it takes just to check one chest.
Exactly. We found a compass for Turtle Rock now. We're not very far from being completely done with all of the items for it. It's just 2 small keys in the map away.
So it looks like Jenja and possibly DT. No, DT is going to go to the basement. Jenya's going to check up in Agam's tower. Just find that shovel that's a wild goose chase.
Yeah, I don't believe he's found any keys yet, so he's just going to get that blue rupee for a shovel there.
As gamercal picks up another small key from Ganon's tower, those things not too useful.
No, I believe is that 2 or 3 now?
We'll see just as soon as he decides to pause.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be mirroring. Oh, does he have the mirror yet? He doesn't. Where was that again?
Alright, so it looks like DT skipped the Ether Tablet, but eLmaGus has checked it and found another small key at Turtle Rock.
That is pretty much all the small keys. All of them required if the dungeon is not a pendant, though, so definitely not a waste yet.
And gamercal's finally heading over to East Death Mountain. We'll be able to get his mirror.
Something he might have wished he had earlier when he checked that Stumpy. He could have been mirroring right below and checking out the South of the Grove location as well. So DT's going to get his key for Desert now as well, which might send him back there.
And it looks like Eastern Palace was a crystal from that very quick map check eLmaGus did. And yeah, I think DT now has everything he needs. to do a full clear of Desert Palace. I'd be very surprised if we didn't see him take that on.
Yeah, I still don't think eLmaGus has even checked the cave spot on Bumper Cave to find out that there's a big key waiting for him.
No, and I don't blame him for not checking that. He doesn't have cape yet.
Yeah, he'll have to take a pod check, which you've got 3 keys there. It's not a terrible idea. Well, I guess he only has 2 because he hasn't done the pyramid either, so he has 2 keys for there, which isn't a terrible thing because you can go all the way to the back with that.
So, you know, we keep mentioning that eLmaGus and DT both have this book. Can you remember where it was found?
The book was from the mushroom. The mushroom I don't remember.
The mushroom was in Thieves Town.
All right, so that'll probably...
gamercal could, in theory, get that book. Jenya's still a ways from it.
It's interesting that gamercal never went into Thieves Town with that as an option. Oh, he has the mushroom. I'm thinking of Jenya. Jenya hasn't picked up the mushroom yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. And yes, Batcave was the lamp. TT was able to get his lamp through a glitch. eLmaGus finally heading into Desert Palace.
Ooh, that's very true. The lamp is kind of required if you want to go to Landmolas, so eLmaGus isn't going to actually be able to finish Desert here.
That's right. We do know where the actual magic powder is for actually getting the real lamp. As we see the desert.
20.
Yeah.
If DT looked at that, he will know not to go back to that room.
Oh, and Jenya has found the big key for the Tower of Hera down at the Circle of Bushes cave.
That's a really big key. That opens up every location left in here except for the dreaded tile room.
That room that everyone will avoid if they have any chance to.
And the worst part in Keysanity is the small key for it is just a fetch quest somewhere. So Desert didn't hold too much. eLmaGus is already out of there.
Oh, right. eLmaGus doesn't have a fire source.
Yeah, only DT with a real source of fire. Those 3 players having some form of fire for Ice Palace.
So this is such a strange divergence we see. DT, the only one with a lamp, therefore the only one with a fire source. You know, he was in Desert first with that early book, but can't finish it, whereas eLmaGus has, you know, he's the first one to get that small key in Desert, but can't convert it into anything. And I think it's Jenya and gamercal running around with the Desert big key, can't even get in there.
Yeah, it's a very odd situation that they've all put themselves into based on the routing they've chosen. None of them has the real access that they want.
No, DT does get his cape, and he knows where that big key, or that there is a big key up in Bumper Cave. So we might see him back in Desert soon. As eLmaGus gets that anxiety key and sees that it's that Turtle Rock key we saw earlier.
I'm gonna have to watch for these menus because I have yet to see the number of keys on them. Need to pay attention to that a little bit more so I can tell what they've found access to so far.
Now, the thing about Turtle Rock is we don't know what medallion is required for it. But if it's a Bombos required dungeon, then all we need is the Titan's Mitt. And these runners can clear out most of Turtle Rock.
Yeah, they definitely have all the tools for it with those keys.
They can't finish it without the fire and ice rods, and there's 2 chests they can't do without fire rod, but most of the dungeon, including Mimic Cave, is open.
Oh my.
Oh! And DT finds the bow in the dark maze of the Palace of Darkness. I think he waited until he had a couple more keys compared to everyone else before he finally went in there.
And
that's
with
huge.
The routing, this is an interesting choice right now. He's going to open this door here with the key instead of finishing the entire dungeon. It's the same amount of items out of it, and he knows that the pedestal is nothing, so it doesn't really matter at all, but it's still one key for one item, which cannot be interesting.
Now, partly he was able to do that where the other runners couldn't, because he pulled off a hammer yump. So he had one extra key to get into the dark maze.
And being the only player who did pyramid. Actually, yes, the only player who did pyramid before pod in that case.
That's right.
eLmaGus going to be the second one once he finally makes it back to pod.
So some pretty strong routing from DT leading to that early bow. I don't think the lamp factored into any runner's decision there, but certainly made it easier for him.
Yeah, and because he saved a key, I believe there's only one left that he cares about for pod. Oh,
that's right.
He hasn't gone south of the turtle room yet.
Now, Jenja did just find another pod small key on the graveyard ledge. And gamercal looks like did the magic bat glitch with the mushroom and also picked up a lamp.
Definitely a really strong play, and you can see why, while it doesn't come into play very often, it's extremely important to know how that works. DT going into Eastern. I don't believe he checked the big chest yet, which is just a hurt piece, but he will be able to finish off Armos now. gamercal is now heading over towards Desert, but he still didn't get that big key first, so he won't be able to finish it. I guess nor does he have the lamp for that. And a fire rod was out of pod as well. I definitely missed that one.
Oh gosh, that makes the Turtle Rock play even more attractive, since that's 2 more chests at the start.
You really got to find that mitt. It's definitely what is holding them back from opening up the entire seed from here. eLmaGus used to dodging whenever Catfish throws at him. Sees a heart piece and is ready to run away, but then he realizes, I don't have as much health as I'm used to. I'm gonna grab him.
You can be too healthy to turn down a free heart piece, but eLmaGus is not there yet.
Definitely not, especially in green mail. The gold sword really makes it interesting, but...
Jenja now the 4th player to pick up a book.
And I believe he has that big key, so going to Desert right now would be not a terrible choice.
Looks like he's doing that.
Oh, he doesn't have the small key yet. Not really interested in heading into Hyrule Escape for that one chest remaining.
And DT will beat the Armos Knights, get a heart container, and 48 minutes into the seed, get the first crystal we see from any runner.
It's a very late crystal. I wouldn't feel too bad about it because it's Keysanity. Sometimes they're really long, but you're not feeling great about finding your first crystal 50 minutes in.
No, but, DT's got a lot open. He's got Skull Woods, where I think he's heading now, from that fire rod. He can, if he finds the Graveyard Ledge key, pod is available, and I think he's got enough stuff to finish Desert if he wants.
Yeah, DT has a sizable lead on everybody's checking right now because the way he's found his items has really made it all a lot faster for him.
Yeah, I think he was one of the first players up to Death Mountain, and that really expanded what they could do. But being first into Thieves Town, getting that mushroom and the book first didn't hurt either.
Yeah, Jenja being the first in the Dark World opted to go to pod, which didn't play out so well.
And gamercal gets his first crystal in Desert with just a piece of heart from Landmolas.
I guess I missed him getting the lamp, so that ended up being a great play for him.
He did the glitch as well.
Oh yes, that was him. For some reason I thought that was eLmaGus who did it. Don't know
Now,
why I thought that.
Jenya's heading into the back half. DT's going to get his big key for Desert here. Jenya's heading into the back half of Desert.
Ooh.
Does not have...
I really expected him to steal a key there.
Or does not have the lamp. Yeah, I was expecting him to steal a key and take on the front half. But I think he looked at his inventory and said, you know what? I've got the big key. I don't want to mess with my ability to finish this dungeon.
Yeah, it can be a really risky play. Desert could be one of the final crystals he needed to finish the game, so he might not know where that other small key is. So in Keysanity, stealing a key is potentially a very volatile thing to do. It might completely sway the way you're supposed to complete the game.
That's right. We know that key.
Logic won't require him to do it without that key because you're not expected to put yourself in a scenario where you could accidentally keylock yourself.
Yeah.
However, it's still a pain to try to find that key.
Yeah, we know it's in the castle sewers, but for all the runners know, for all Jenya knows at this point, it could be somewhere like Mimic Cave.
Yeah.
And if that stops you from finishing Desert Palace because you're looking for one key, oh, you get really mad at yourself.
Yeah, it's not a good way to waste time, for sure.
So eLmaGus picks up his cape, which will let him get the desert big key as well. Looks like DT is going to get another pod small key here, which if he wants, means he could go finish Helmasaur.
Yeah, that small key is just an item, 1 for 1 at that point, because it's either the one south of the turtles or Helmasaur himself, so not really interesting right now. He'll probably go there once he's out of options.
Are you telling me that a runner isn't going to complete a dungeon on the off chance they will need to go to the pedestal and get another shield upgrade?
I'm certain that DT is not concerned about his shields right now.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
As for the actual item Helmasaur holds, that could be a very, very trolly item.
That's right, but, you know, DT does know that if he finds things there, that's a sequence break because of that early lamp he got. So I'm not surprised to see him taking on things that are a bit within the logic right now, like, say, the back half of Skull Woods.
Yep, and may not have any keys, but he's going to find one here and one off the Gibdo right at the end to be able to go to Mothula, so no concern for him right now.
That's right. Now, eLmaGus is in the pod dark room, having gotten so many keys before he came in here. So he's going to pick up, or he has picked up already his bow, and will probably get the fire rod soon. And Jenya is our first player to Tower of Hera with an actual big key for it.
Hopefully eLmaGus doesn't make the mistake that he could potentially be on the way to making, which is he mirrored and went into Eastern, and he might forget to go to the right side of pod right away.
That's right, the bow does open that up.
Yeah, if he opts not to go there, he won't be finding that fire rod, which could be the item they need to progress. Well, actually, it can't be. There's mitt somewhere before that bow.
That's right, and chat's pointing out, no runner has the big key yet for Palace of Darkness. So, even if they wanted that single item from Helmasaur, it's not available at this point.
Yeah, I believe either way, if they went back into into pod for another item, they'd go for that turtle room that no one has bothered to waste a key on. I don't think we know what the reward for Moldworm will be. Ooh, DT dangerously low on this fight, but with Gold Sword, which is technically... Oh, never mind. I was going to say, with Tempered Sword, it might not be a hard fight, but...
He does have a fairy. Jenya picks up a crystal from defeating Moldworm. So, you know, that's one of the ways we mentioned these runners just find out what's the prize for a dungeon by beating that dungeon.
Yep, and gamercal just unlocking the ability to go there himself, so that might be where he heads up next.
what does Mothula drop? Also a crystal today.
It's not running out of places for that pendant to be. There's only 3 dungeons we don't know about left.
Could be Mire, could be Turtle Rock, could be Swamp Palace.
Now that would be really funny if Turtle Rock was actually a pendant all this time.
And eLmaGus defeats the Armos, collects his first crystal. gamercal already has one from Desert. And Jenja's beaten Tower of Hera now, so that's 1 crystal at minimum for each runner.
Yeah, definitely not. I would say you're not feeling great about getting your first crystal at 55, but
No.
you're not too aware that the fastest runner, as far as we're aware, got it at 48, so they're not doing poorly at all.
Oh, now we missed this in Tower of Hera. Looks like Jenja has picked up the Titan's Mitt.
Oh, that is an excellent find.
That opens up Super Bunny Cave, Hookshot Cave, the back exit of Hookshot Cave, which is the powder. But maybe more importantly, for all the runners, it opens up Turtle Rock, for some slightly more than others.
Yeah, and also equally importantly on that powder would be the lamp, now out of the sequence break.
That's right. As gamercal checks that one chest in Swamp Palace, that first one you can get to without a small key, hoping maybe for a small key, finding a piece of heart instead.
That would be probably the worst location to find the actual swamp small key.
Oh yes, absolutely it is. eLmaGus finally has that cape from Palace of Darkness. He's going to head through and get his desert big key, as Jenja gets a small key for Castle Tower, not of any use. A map to Skull Woods, also not great. A small key for Skull Woods, even less great. And a small key for Thieves Town, which unlocks that big chest once you've found the big key.
It's good for him to find it now instead of after he's already gone through Thieves Town for a clear.
That's right, but still not a ton of stuff in Hookshot Cave today.
Yeah, it's been a pretty tame Dark World in that area. He's going to pick up his powder here, which is a good choice since he already used his mushroom. He can't actually get the lamp yet without this powder.
That's right. And gamercal is going to head into Tower of Hera. Now with big key in hand, he'll be able to pick up his own Titan's Mitt.
Yep, that's a huge advancement for their progression, so DT will have to go there as soon as he can to be able to catch up with that. Since he's doing really well, he shouldn't be too far off of that, but if it takes any longer to get that, he might fall behind.
I should point out, Jenja did get lucky with this Turtle Rock play.
Wow.
Or rather, turns out the medallion they have is the right one. Turtle Rock is accessible.
And I believe I see 4 keys. All 4 of them have been found already, so he can full clear the dungeon with, well, minus the Fire Rod and Ice Rod, but...
That's right. Now, unfortunately, eLmaGus had the opportunity to pick up that Fire Rod, got the boat from the Dark Maze in Palace of Darkness, and then didn't do right side. So he missed that Fire Rod. And
let's hope he doesn't forget about that entirely, because that would be a huge, huge loss for him.
gamercal making quick work of Moldorm, as you can do with Butter Sword. Getting his second crystal.
Sword. eLmaGus locking himself behind a dead rock, immediately fleeing back to try again.
You know, the more I play this game, the more I think that the dead rock is some twisted creation that's the worst enemy I've seen in 25 years of playing video games.
It is a really cruel enemy. It's very annoying, and sometimes you think you hit it in the right direction and it twitches and throws away.
And Jenja picks up the blue mail in Turtle Rock just frames before he gets hit by some chain chomps. That's actually great timing to find that.
And with the powder on the ferry, or the anti-fairy there, he's already fully ready to go at full health, which essentially 16 hearts right now.
And it looks like gamercal is also going to open up Turtle Rock, check some nearby chests, and then probably head in.
Yeah, right now we're just waiting for that big item to pop out at us. Well, I guess in this case, the big key to pop at us. Not sure which key we're looking for, though.
That's right. Now, the Titan's Mitt was a pretty big find just because it opened up all of Turtle Rock. And it looks like DT's headed up to Tower of Hera again as well now.
Yeah, another place that opened up that should probably be somewhat interesting to them is Ice Palace. There's several chests there that are now available.
That's right. Ice Palace is open. Misery Mire is potentially open to them.
Yep, Mire, another place that requires no keys whatsoever if you do the routing correctly. You can waste keys, which will make you need more, but it shouldn't take any.
And gamercal is going to head through that terrible, terrible hookshot cave.
Yep, definitely one of the worst I've ever seen.
Jenja,
Really was just access to that big chest in Thieves Town.
Yeah. Jenja, meanwhile, has made it through Turtle Rock enough. We're going to see a Mimic Cave check.
With eLmaGus having finished getting the mitts.
eLmaGus is going to show us Spike Cave today.
Ooh, that's a good look. Jenja just having found a full container on the Mimic Cave, and DT getting his mitts very soon.
You know, for an hour in, 10 hearts, which is what these runners are carrying, not a lot.
No, some seeds you find you're up to like 15 within 20 minutes or so. This has definitely been one of those opposites right now.
I suppose that's what you get when you collect a butter sword 9 minutes into this game. So, you know, trade-offs.
Yep. Green mail for an hour. No shields. Stuff like that. You got a butter sword though, so it's all good.
Well, you know, eLmaGus did pick up the Bloomerang in Spike Cave. And there's the Thieves Town big key for Jenja. So we're starting to find some good stuff. Thieves Town is now totally clearable.
Yeah, that might be a really good place to go next. It is also the Pyramid Fairy Crystal as well.
And to answer a question in chat, yes, gamercal skipped powder, presumably because gamercal has that lamp already. Doesn't need powder to activate Magic Bat, and if he doesn't want powder for safeties, there is no other use for it.
I'm surprised you didn't grab it for the safeties though, because not a big healthy seed right now.
No, fortunately he did just come into the blue mail as DT picks up his 4th crystal.
Yeah, DT making some quick work of this game. He's hopefully going to find that Thieves Town big key from Turtle Rock next and be able to go there for the 5th.
Yeah, I think we're going to see all these runners kind of in a conga line almost, going through Thieves Town, or sorry, Turtle Rock one after the other. And then with those 2 Thieves Town keys, just getting out of here, going to Village of Outcasts and doing Thieves Town, one after another in quick succession.
Yep, and Jenja and eLmaGus don't have the lamp for this, but this is actually one of the easier dark rooms in the game. Not many people knew it right away, but you could just hold down right to start that and actually line up exactly where you need to go, which was the hardest part of that dark room.
Jenja very low on health, but he gets that back door open for safety.
Yeah, definitely a hard area to get done without taking damage, because sometimes you just make one wrong step and you get shot by a laser.
Now, a couple of things are going to happen here. One is, Jenja's going to finish clearing Laser Bridge, and then he'll be done with the dungeon because he doesn't have Ice Rod and Fire Rod. The other is, in a couple minutes here, DT is going to get into Turtle Rock, and DT alone will be able to check those 2 chests on the right.
Yeah, only one person has gone to the back of pod, and they did not remember to check on the right side after they got the bow there.
That's right. And the bottom of Laser Bridge just having the big key for Skull Woods, which, because of the way Skull Woods works, is effectively a fetch quest. Turtle Rock's not a great place to be today, aside from that Thieves Town key.
Yep, not important as far as we're aware. We don't also know what the boss reward is. That could have been a crystal dungeon that they just cleared out. It could also have just been the last time they'll ever see it because it's a pendant.
That's right.
I'm very interested to see where Jenja goes now, because almost everywhere in the overworld now has been a place he's double-checked.
Oh, DT skipping out on the play into Turtle Rock. Looks like he's going over to Spike Cave for a blue boomerang. Going to be missing that Thieves Town big key.
That is an unfortunate choice to make here.
Yeah,
Especially with just an ice rod missing for the full clear, it's really not a big deal to miss out on that entire dungeon.
Now that may be why he's holding off on going into Turtle Rock just yet. From his perspective, he's one item from finishing Turtle Rock, which means, oh, maybe I don't want to go there until I have to. These other ones, they're 2 items away from finishing Turtle Rock. They're saying, you know what, let me get in there, let me get anything I can. I'm expecting to go back in multiple times.
Yeah, that's definitely an outlook that they could be having. And without knowing the boss reward, it's kind of hard to say if you want to go in without the ice rod or not when you're that close, because it's like you might not have to return there, but at the same time you might have to clear the whole place anyways, so...
That's right. DT picking up some potions as Jenja makes his way back to Thieves Town. And is going to head back to the back half and take on the boss. Probably seeing a pyramid check from him afterwards.
I find it really interesting that no one has checked the Mire medallion yet, because it could be Bombos, and if it is, that might, aside from the small key for Swamp Palace, basically finish the whole seed. They're only about 4 items away, 3 of the main keys.
Do they have the big key for Misery Mire?
But that's a good point. I don't think I've seen that yet. I think this has been one of those key sanities where you haven't found really any of the big keys anywhere. Which I believe... I don't think they found the Ganon's Tower big key either.
They still have not, so that could be hiding, well...
Pretty much
anywhere in the world except those top 3 chests in Ganon's Tower. And, I suppose the big chest in Ganon's Tower.
Ooh, a fetch quest from Jenja here. Just finding a useless Swamp Palace big key.
You know, now's the time to find that, before Jenja finds the Swamp Palace small key.
Yeah, which I kind of would prefer to find the small key in this scenario, because you're right now for Jenja, he's just running location to location, getting an item that tells him to go to a new location. So he's kind of just jumping around at random here.
Very definitely happening.
One of the big differences from normal play is you can't really tell what's going on because you're not really finding any big sections unlocked for you yet.
That's right. DT does find the half magic power-up in the Misery Mire shed. And is that Bombos required for Misery Mire?
I believe it was, but it was very difficult to see with the pixelation on this restream.
So Bombos, the only medallion required today.
Yep, definitely Bombos, which, as far as some of these players, well, basically any player that isn't DT right now will think might also be required for Ice Palace. It'll be very interesting if we see all 3 players using Bombos for all 3 of the dungeons.
Yes. Jenja's heading through the basement of Thieves Town. I didn't see anything particularly great turn up yet. But he's going to be able to finish this and get another crystal out of it. Gamercal's also going to take on Thieves Town, as Jenya takes a few hits during blind, but manages to cap out the fight. DT's just going to show us hammer pegs, and then the smith.
Oh, unfortunately not a useful map. And DT had menued a minute ago, and I can confirm that he has not found the big key that he wants for Mire. So we might not be going there anytime soon.
Just $50 from the smith.
Who knows where this next break is going to be? I haven't really been finding anything in all these locations they're checking right now.
Yeah, we're really starting to get down to kind of dipping into a dungeon for, as you've rightly called them, fetch quests.
Yeah, it's looking either you go for a fetch quest off one of those big keys or small keys you found for a dungeon you've already done, or you go into Ice or Mire and just hope for something big.
DT healing up, potentially going to take on Turtle Rock now. No. Going to Ice Palace.
I like this play because he has everything he needs for it aside from the big key for the big chest, which should be a lot of items in here.
That's right. They do have one small key that, ironically, they got from Ice Cave.
Which should make the routing really easy because it means it can open the right door in the plus room.
That's
which
right.
will save the routing a lot of time there.
As Jenya finally picks up that lamp. Jenya, of course, not doing the mushroom glitch, had to wait all the way to get the powder.
Now the interesting thing here is eLmaGus never picked up the powder either, so he might just be thinking there's nothing important coming from Magic Bed.
Oh, and we did see that the big chest in the basement of Mire, or of Thieves rather, was the small key from Mire.
Yep, another key that doesn't have much impact, but it does allow them to route a little bit better if they choose to open a door differently.
That's right. Jenya's going to bring that purple chest home. I'm not sure that we've seen that yet from anyone. But it's just a bomb upgrade.
I believe DT did that before the swamp play, and gamercal with a damageless perfect execution on his blind.
Oh, well done, gamercal. You know what? You can have a crystal for that fight.
I'm sure he'll be glad to have that, being the only person with both Desert and Thieves done.
Yeah, no one tell gamercal that we still give out those crystals even if you take damage during that fight.
He might just think it's not a good enough feeling for him if he doesn't, so he might have done the fight over again.
So now Jenya has Lamp, and I think has the big key for Desert. So we might see Jenya play through to Lambos and complete that right now.
It would not be a bad choice considering his Thieves already done. The interesting thing after that would be, would he go to Mire or would he go turn in that big bomb?
Well, gamercal's gone back into Swamp. He's going to use that big key for Swamp that he found just to find a compass for Thieves Town, which he just cleared out. That makes a compass even more useless.
It's a really rewarding feel right there.
So for those that haven't played Keysanity before, compasses give you a nice little counter when you're playing in a dungeon to tell you how many chests are in the dungeon and how many you've opened. Strong runners who know what they're doing don't need them in the slightest.
Which I would describe all four of these players as.
Oh, yes. DT found another small key in the top part of Ice, but it was just for Palace of Darkness, where he's not interested in going anymore. That would be helpful for the other runners, though, since it'll lead them into the bow, and maybe if eLmaGus finds that small key, it'll trigger something in his head that makes him go, right, I need to do right side, and he can get his fire rod.
That would be a really important find for him.
As we see another useless small key to Mire in Ice Palace. And eLmaGus is now the third runner to have fought blind and finished.
And Jen, you're going to be the third to finish Lamola's here as well.
So that's 2 runners now with access to that giant bomb and whatever chests are in the pyramid. I'm hoping one of them goes for it pretty soon.
I'm gonna hope for an ice rod in there. Gamercal is taking an interesting choice here. Opting to go for an incompletable mire over a fully completable ice palace.
And somewhere along the line, DT did pick up a big key for Ice Palace. So he was able to get that all-important single arrow out of that big chest. You know, if you pick up the silvers, that arrow, that last one, is your final hit on Ganon. So good job on his part.
Maybe he'll end up using it on Vitreous when he heads over there.
That does seem more likely at this point.
36 arrows, I don't know if he'll ever run out.
No. Gamercal now making his way through chests in Mire.
Now that looked like silvers to me.
I think he might have just gotten those silver arrows off of Argus as well as the green pendant.
Which is really interesting because I was about to say he has 36 arrows and that's the exact amount you need. No, sorry, you need 35 for Vitreous if you're using only arrows. So that would have been pretty funny, but with silvers that is no longer the case.
eLmaGus now back in Skull Woods. Not Swamp Palace, but Skull Woods, opening that big chest for a compass of the dungeon he just cleared. And DT is going to turn in that green pendant right away, not wasting any time converting it for 20 rupees.
An excellent deal. You just killed one of the most dangerous bosses in the world. Here's 20 bucks.
Here's 20 bucks. Use it to regild your sword.
Now, I find it very interesting that both players with access to the Pyramid Fairy went into Mire here. It is more chests and potentially a pendant dungeon, but that Pyramid Fairy has 2 items in it that could make this just a one-trip clear.
That's right. Oh, in the name of DT, heading up into Aghanim's tower at this point. Gonna get a shovel, send him on a fetch quest. Not a bad play, but unfortunately it won't pay off.
He does have a key, so he can actually get that next chest as well, I believe. Unless it takes both, I don't remember for sure.
It only takes one.
Oh, that's right, because it used to hold the small key.
That's right, that's my trick to remember it.
Fortunately, it's not far in either.
No, and he's got the lamp, so this is easy work for a small key to Swamp Palace.
That is huge! I can't wait for him to clear Swamp and find a pendant.
That's the thing, we don't know yet if it's a pendant or a crystal.
He's going for the shovel turn in first.
That's right. So when DT went in there, I forgot he had that first key for the tower. That makes that play much more worthwhile. That paid off handsomely. and it might be a while before we see the others take it on, but
exactly.
in the same vein, he still hasn't been into Turtle Rock, and we know that Turtle Rock is going to be required for completing Thieves Town.
Yeah, if he gets a crystal at a swamp, then that will give him his, what's that, 5th crystal?
That's right.
So then he will be able to get his 6th out of Thieves after he does T-Rock, which T-Rock could be the 7th, but we don't know where the Ice Rod is. And most
we still don't know which the third pendant is.
Yeah, it's strange to be this many items in with such a large distance from the goal line right now.
Alright, so gamercal, heading into Ice Palace, is going to pick up his silver arrows and probably, well, yeah, we saw not much else of worth.
Yeah, silver arrows will be nice, but gamercal hasn't made that play in the pod yet to find the bow, so not really useful for him. Well, he made the play in the pod, but he didn't make the deeper play yet, so...
Meanwhile, Jenja has finished up Land Molas, and eLmaGus is going to head in there himself. I think both of those runners, or at least eLmaGus, does have the big key for Swamp Palace.
Yeah, I'll have to watch for a menu. Yep, no big key for DT.
No, so I can't recall where that was. Anyone in chat who remembers where the Swamp Palace big key was, please point it out to us so we can keep that in mind.
Yeah, this is very difficult to track.
All right, Jenja, finally making the play I've wanted to see for several minutes now. From any runner, Jenja's going to deliver that giant bomb.
Still hoping for that Ice Rod. More likely it's going to be some useful keys though, because they are very short on useful keys right now.
Well, there's some bombs, and a map to Desert Palace, which at this point every runner has cleared.
Or it could be the most useless thing possible. I like that the map for Desert, which opens that location. Did you know that you got the crystal required to open this cave?
Congratulations.
Thanks, Gabe.
Alright, so DT, before he heads to the back part of Swamp Palace, is going to check the left side and do a full clear. Great play since he knows that every chest in this dungeon is potentially in play still. I'm just really hoping that we see either a swamp or a mire or a T-Rock map from one of these runners pretty soon.
Yeah, I would like that knowledge sometime soon.
I'm getting quite anxious at this point, and I'm sure the runners are too. Over an hour and 20 minutes into the race, and they still don't actually know which dungeons are required.
Yep. Completing Swamp Palace is going to be a good play in either way because it's a 2 in 3 chance of being a crystal. And if you get the pendant, you know exactly where everything else is from that point. Ooh, eLmaGus here. He's going to get that key we're looking for.
Yeah, and eLmaGus will be able to full clear Swamp, getting that big chest in the center as well.
Yep, and Jenja finding his bow, so he will be a little bit closer to completing and getting his fire rod. Along with
so when we say that eLmaGus can full clear, I'm reminded now that that Swamp Palace key is somewhere in Turtle Rock area. Which of course DT was skipping out earlier.
Yes. Should mean every other player has it, since they all made the choice to go into Turtle Rock.
So at this point, I feel like our top 2 runners are in the lead here. DT having the crystal advantage, obviously, but eLmaGus, by virtue of that dip into Turtle Rock, just kind of, I feel like he's gained a fair amount of ground and they're about equal. Our
Yep.
bottom two runners still doing very well, but unfortunately, just kind of 2 dungeons behind in terms of crystal clearing.
I feel Jenya will be... I will call Jenya second very soon, because he's going to get this fire rod, which will lead him to 2 crystals real quickly. Who knows when eLmaGus or gamercal will return to that.
Oh, that's a very good point about eLmaGus.
It's hard to tell which of those 3 is kind of technically in second because of that, but at the same time, Jenya is feeling like a good choice for the fire rod find he's about to get. Oh no. That's a small key to Hera.
I mean, that's only an incredibly out-of-the-way trip for exactly 1 item that's unlikely to be of value. That's not frustrating at all to find at this point.
Which tells me it's the ice rod. T-Rock being a remaining crystal, that's my guess.
So, I have to ask, Futon, do you have a beef with one of these runners? Why do you want them to suffer so much?
It's the ice rod. It's been so mean to me, I just have to see it be mean to other players.
Ah, fair enough.
With DT obliterating Argus here, it's another reminder that a 9-minute gold sword has paid this seed kind of a cakewalk for killing enemies.
I mean, it's fast to kill with the gold sword. It's even faster if you use a silver arrow and
Oh!
get the ice rod!
That is huge! He hasn't even been to Turtle Rock yet, so now he actually can full clear in 1 sweep.
That is a huge find for In the Name of DT right now. In addition to Swamp Palace being his 5th crystal, he'll be able to clear out Turtle Rock, potentially get a 6th, and he'll definitely be able to do Thieves Town.
Which raises the question, where in this entire game is Ganon Tower Big Key?
Oh.
I feel like I wish this time, I don't feel so great anymore.
My mind is racing through terrible, terrible possibilities here. But I also kind of would like to see it on the torch in Ganon's Tower, just because they have the boots. Normally that's the trolley play, the one everyone worries about, and tonight it would be nice.
It's going to be extra trolly when they see that. They hit it, and it's just like, I don't know, mire. Big key.
That's right.
There's not many big keys that are missing right now, which is a good thing, though.
There is still the... Yeah, as you mentioned, the Misery Mire big key.
I believe
and
pod as well?
The pod big key.
So the 3 big keys remain, one of which is the one they care about.
Now, yeah, we know the pod big key doesn't matter at all. The GT big key might, or definitely does. And the Mire big key might, because we still don't know where that last crystal is.
Yeah, we have a set time limit on when we're going to know, because DT, I am sure, is going to finish off Trinex in this trip.
Yeah, that'll tell us certainly. But I'm not going to say DT's in go mode until he finds that Ganon's Tower big key, which of course, could be in so many places.
Yep, he will be in an item go mode since he has every single item required to get to every single location in the game. It's just when will those keys line up to make him get that big key.
That's right. Now eLmaGus is gonna make his way through the back of this dungeon eventually. We'll get that ice rod, but hasn't been to the right side of Palace of Darkness. I don't know when he's gonna go back there and get the fire rod. Gamercal's at least making his way there right now. And Jenya has that fire rod. Jenya at least can finish off Skull Woods here.
Yep, he will be collecting his 5th crystal in there.
And those 2 chests we were talking about earlier that were locked behind the fire rod in Turtle Rock, a compass and a compass.
It's exciting rewards.
So, you know, other runners missing out on those 2 chests the first time they came in, DT does get to see them and only wastes his time with them.
Oof. DT had a nice lineup for the double on that, but the chain chomp ruined his attempt.
Alright, so gamercal now has the lamp, has the bow. He's going to be able to finish off Eastern Palace, get might have been a heart container or a big 20 from Armos, but more importantly, a crystal.
Desperately needed right now, as he is by far behind in that count. Although with the find of the fire rod too, he'll be coming up to par with Jenja as soon as he can get to Skullwoods.
That's right, this will be his 4th crystal. Doing Skullwoods will be his 5th. And he does have those silver arrows out of Ice Palace that Jenja's missing.
Yep, and eLmaGus getting his 5th crystal, Jenja on his way to get his 5th as well, which will leave all players very close by right now. gamercal definitely behind and DT definitely ahead, but without finding that Ganon Tower big key, who knows where that actually is going to land them.
So it looks like eLmaGus is going to head into Misery Mire. Or at least check this area, which I don't think he's done before.
Nope, it'll be his first opening of the mire area. I believe he checked the side things. I just don't believe he went inside.
That's right. Unfortunately, eLmaGus is just going to sink a lot of time into this. I don't think we found anything particularly great out of Misery Mire itself.
Oh, so there's the big key of Ice Palace. It was in the back half of Skullwoods.
Ah, yes, that explains why DT was able to get it so early, compared to everyone else.
So definitely very hard to track all these key locations. There's so much more to look out for.
And Jenja checks the pedestal, is now I think our 3rd runner to find out it's just a shield upgrade. As DT finds that big key for Thieves Town and goes, oops, I wish I had that earlier.
Yeah, that'll lead him to his 6th crystal once he finishes, well, potentially his 7th, once he finishes T-Rock. And if, well, he won't have his, as far as we're aware, he won't have his Ganon's Tower big key, so he'll probably also follow up with the Pyramid Fairy.
That's right. You know, as long as that GT big key remains elusive, as long as no runner has found it, these guys could be searching the overworld for quite a while trying to track it down.
Yeah, and I don't believe they have, 3 small keys for GT right now. There's 4 total, which means all of GT is available once they find the big key.
That's right. I suppose at this point, GT is probably the most likely place for that key to be.
Yeah, it seems like a good check because you actually have access to every single chest that could possibly hold it right now with the 3 keys in that area.
Now, of course, we might see it go the other way. We might see DT take down Trinex, get a crystal, and get the GT big key drop right there, in which case he goes from a lot of uncertainty to go mode.
And it definitely at that point.
Oh, no question.
I didn't even know there was a switch in that direction. I guess I did know, just not at that angle.
Very nice cane dash from DT there.
gamercal cleaning up a moth kill right here.
Also a very nice moth fight. Just goes to show, as we said, these are 4 top runners. If you enjoy what you see out of them, be sure to give them a follow. I'm pretty sure all 4 of them are racing rando, not on a daily basis, but pretty close to that.
Won't be a 0 cycle, try next, but still a really quick fight with that butter.
Looks like DT's switching to the mirror, potentially hoping he can mirror out if this isn't a... Oh no, just mirroring after we finish the dungeon. And only a red rupee. But that's a crystal.
That is going to be crystal 6, which leads to 7, so he might go straight to Ganon's tower or choose to look around some more.
I would expect to see him go straight into Ganon's tower, since it, as we mentioned, has so many chests at this point.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised if he tries like the pyramid fountain, because it's 2 items, but it's also kind of a bit of a walk, and you don't really know if that's worth the time.
Yes, chat. DT is, of course, doing Thieves Town. We knew Thieves was still on the table. There's no sense in going to the front door of Ganon's tower when you only have 6 keys, unless you're directly headed to Spike Cave or you just want to see some pretty flashing lights. eLmaGus is actually making the play he needs to make here. He is, in fact, going on the right side of Palace of Darkness. So he'll be able to get his fire rod. That'll put him nice and close to actual go mode. Certainly It'll be item go mode.
And with that choice, he should be a little bit in the lead because of that, since he'll be able to go straight to Skullwoods, get that crystal, and up into T-Rock. Not leading DT, but the other 2 runners below.
That's right. You know, he does have to replay T-Rock, but when you've opened every chest on the way, it's a pretty quick dungeon to run through. Not faster than clearing Thieves Town at this point, but he'll certainly pull into 2nd place out of these 4 runners. It is worth noting, of course, it's not just 4 runners in this race. There are 48 runners in this competition. We've just decided to showcase these particular 4 for you today. 3 times a day we have Link to the Past randomizer races that are open to anyone who wants to join on SRL, Speedruns Live. Coming up in just over an hour at 11 Eastern, there will be an open mode run. If anyone wants to join in on that, that one will get restreamed as well. And no one else in this race has finished so far, but I do mention that there are 44 other racers in this race, so that when I announce a finisher, if it's not one of these 4 people in chat, won't be taken by surprise.
In case anyone has missed it, right now DT is just looking for the Ganon's Tower big key, along with finishing off his last crystal dungeon, which he is aware is a crystal. And all the other players still also searching for that, but they aren't aware that T-Rock is a crystal yet, so they actually don't really have any leads right now. They're just clearing places to clear places.
That's right. eLmaGus is going to get his 6th crystal right here from fighting Mothula. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go right up to Turtle Rock, since he knows that's where there's a dungeon he can complete. Gamercal's making his way up into Aghanim's tower. Gonna go all the way to that second chest. That'll give him access to Swamp Palace, which will eventually lead to Ice Rod, so that gives him a bit of a lead over Jenja, who's, I don't want to say lost, but certainly off track in Ice Palace.
Yep, and gamercal finally got the swamp access he needs, so he'll be able to get that Ice Rod for a clear on that.
So, now that In the Name of DT has collected all of his crystals, there is a game people like to play about what chest in Ganon's tower is that big key going to be in. Doesn't quite work in Keysanity, folks.
But I would say it's still accurate. Interesting that DT's checking some of these locations. They're not a long check, so it's not a terrible choice, but very odd.
Well, at this point, Futon, you know, there's not much of this game left. Where do you think the big key is?
It's a tough call. I could be a negative person, as I have been in my guesses recently, but I think it will be just somewhere in Ganon's tower. If it isn't going to be, I'm gonna guess it's gonna be somewhere really terrible, like off Helmasaur.
Well, I'm sorry, runners, but I'm gonna put it this way. Imagine we see two big keys in Ganon's tower. One is the Palace of Darkness big key. One is the Misery Mire big key.
Now that would be funny.
That would be
Hera
evil.
Basement is still in play as well. That is very true.
That's actually a very good point. And you know, if DT doesn't find the big key first checking Ganon's tower, he'll probably step out, mirror, and go to that tile room basement just to make sure it's not somewhere close by.
I am fully ready to watch DT get trolled for another 20 minutes.
eLmaGus has made the right play by going back to Turtle Rock. So when he finishes this, he will be up at 7 crystals as well. Just checking this compass holding room for 2 compasses here, and then he'll be blazing through the rest of the dungeon. Jenja turns in that green pendant to Sahasrahla, slashes in anger at the 20 rupees he received, and gamercal's going to take on Swamp Palace and get that Ice Rod.
Yeah, it looks like Jenja will be about a minute behind him in that. Oh no, he's going a different direction. He might not have actually gotten the key yet, which is probably where he's going now.
One leg up that DT got in this race was he was the first one to check all the way up Aga Tower and find that small key for Swamp. Small key for Misery Mire in Ganon's Tower.
Not useful when you already have one of those, because that's just going to open a door that really never gets opened.
It gets you through there slightly faster, but and Gem isn't doing Aghanim's tower. Gem is doing escape for that desert small key. That'll give him right side desert and maybe lead him further off the track he's supposed to be on.
Ooh, that's right. Getting the desert key for Jenja. Oh,
There's a Dark Palace big key.
No! Hey, our first shield. Hey, our second shield.
And we know where that third shield is.
Very quick end to the shield progression there. DT was being very kind and saved our trackers one of the steps of shield clicking.
There's a map to Misery Mire, but no big key yet for Misery Mire. And you might have noticed if you're watching this and you're not used to Keysanity, one of those chests that DT opened had no text on the key. That's because he picked up a key for a dungeon he's already in.
DT He definitely has all the keys he'll ever need for this dungeon, but maybe not the big one.
No. And, you know, I do like that symmetry. Right at the start of the race, we saw in the same cave 2 swords. In another cave, 2 more swords. And now, right near the end of the run, we see 2 shields in the same room in GT.
Maybe this rando room will have 2 medallions.
Oh. Odds are getting low. Doesn't look like it'll happen.
In fact, we'll get no medallions.
Well, now we can prove, with a map, that Thieves Town was a crystal.
It's important information to have when you're in Ganon's Tower.
And eLmaGus takes out Trinex, gets his 20 bucks for beating that boss, but more importantly gets his 7th crystal. He's going to be pretty close behind DT here.
Yep, definitely in second place at this point if he can find that big key before Jenja or gamercal does. Jenja popped into Hera there and menued to check stuff. I don't know if he was absent-mindedly checking as if he was looking for something. Maybe he wasn't sure if he had the small key yet.
DT makes it all the way to Bob's chest, doesn't come up with a key. Looks like I'm still not sure where Jenja's going.
I don't know if he knows where he's going at this point. He's a little bit lost.
I think Jenja may have forgotten about that second chest in Aga Tower, that one that unlocks Swamp Palace.
That's a...
Oh, that's a big key for Misery Mire! So DT is going to check the right side, make absolutely sure that Ganon's Tower big key isn't in here, but probably going to have to make that agonizing choice. Do I go to Mire? Do I go to Pod?
He should pick Pod because I don't believe he's done the room south of the turtles as well, so there is... What is that? 3 items total in Pod.
Has DT been into Mire at all?
Oh, that's a good point. I don't think he has.
He might see that as a play just with kind of the excess of items available there.
Yeah, he might be...
He does know that the big key isn't on the pedestal, so at least he doesn't have to kill both bosses. Or he's not forced to kill both bosses.
I can't even imagine a place that they haven't checked yet in the overworld.
I can. Well, it's not the overworld, but eLmaGus is going to do the basement of Hera.
Ooh,
DT finds a bottle, a bug net, and a heart container. Oh. There's your ether medallion.
Going for tile room. 2 tile rooms back to back. gamercal is moments away from picking up his ice rod, which will lead him towards T-Rock.
And Jenja has remembered about that chest in Aga Tower. He is going up there. That'll get him into Swamp Palace for this ice rod gamercal's about to get. eLmaGus going right side first.
I like that play because there's a key over there that you kind of want to collect if you're not sure if you're going to get enough keys. The other thing that's good about that check is it kind of allows you to full sweep the entire dungeon a lot smoother, which is probably is what he expects to be doing.
So DT, for all the time he spent waiting in tile room, actually gets the Sanctuary Heart.
Yeah, and he also forgets that mirroring on Ganon's Tower's exit is not a useful spot to do.
No, it is not.
I give you a great
view.
Is this the tile room check? No, it isn't. Fortunately for him, it's nothing. He might have forgotten about it.
Oh, so DT skips the Hera basement.
Yeah, and confirmed that he has not opened it as he's already switched to Bombos.
So, this is going to come down to, essentially, a Mire versus Pod gamble. If eLmaGus heads back to Pod, and it turns out that's where the big key was for Ganon's Tower, we could see eLmaGus take the lead on this. Of course, if the big key for Ganon's Tower is in Misery Mire, DT has this in the bag.
Yep, definitely. Can't think of any big chests that have been skipped. Maybe Swamp. Has Swamp's big chest been skipped?
It was skipped by DT, but not by the others because everyone else did Turtle Rock before Swamp.
That's right, it was a Turtle Rock location. With eLmaGus having cleared most of the mire, he might opt to go to pod, which could be the advantage he needs.
Yeah, that's a definite possibility.
Although with the lead DT has, he might be there ahead of him anyways.
And to answer a question in chat, no one has finished this race yet. So as far as we know, DT or eLmaGus might still be the first out of 48 racers to win this seed. Jenja and gamercal still doing very well. I expect to finish, in the top few runners, but doesn't look like they're going to be the winners today.
Apparently the race dropped down to 44 runners right before it started.
Only 44? Oh no. Alright. Well, DT finds the red mail in the big chest of mire. So that was something we hadn't seen.
Yeah, eLmaGus' stream itself has crashed, unfortunately. But we know he's going to be checking several chests, getting absolutely nothing before he tries to find the pod one. Or the mire or pod one, I should say.
That's right. I mean, it is unfortunate that we won't see eLmaGus' execution, since he's one of the better players at that.
Yeah, one of the only player on this screen to be in the top 16.
And eLmaGus finds documented mathematical proof of a crystal in Thieves Town.
So DT's still clearing chests we've seen from all the other runners.
That's right, he certainly had a time advantage getting into Ganon's Tower because he skipped over Misery Mire, and as we can see, going straight to Ganon's Tower to unlock the big key for Ganon's Tower somewhere else was the right play, but now he's losing some of that time as he has to make it up.
Yep, he's going to be probably still the lead runner on this grouping, but hard to tell how much that'll be by anymore.
Meanwhile, gamercal has made his way through most of Turtle Rock. And is going to take on Trinex, get his 7th crystal, so it'll be into GT for gamercal. Jenja is finishing up clearing the left-hand side of Swamp. Not finding anything, won't find anything until he gets to Argus, where he'll get his Ice Rod and also be in item go mode.
eLmaGus might make a really bad, well, not bad play, but an unfortunate play. No, he does not. Okay, so he's going to mire. Because he has not finished Ice Palace.
Oh, that's a good point. Yes, that's right. He has not finished... no, he must have finished Ice Palace. Sorry, eLmaGus or DT?
eLmaGus.
Oh, my
silvers.
mistake. Yes.
DT on his way to find out where that big key is, if it's in pod or right here.
Vitreous, that overpowered boss that needs 2 whole silver arrows to take down, only has 50 rupees. So
this race continues.
That leaves Palace of Darkness as the only spot. And then it's just a question, does DT have all the stuff he needs? Where's he going to check right now?
Yeah.
Bombos tablet?
It's probably where he's going to go. I think he might actually also be going for the swamp big chest. Something I like to do in a situation like this in a race is when you know you think it's in one specific location, I always like to go, alright, what have I missed though? What have I forgotten?
And DT's certainly got a few of those spots.
Yeah, he has this one Bombos. I don't think there's much else though.
For DT, Pyramid Fairy.
Ooh, that is true.
Because Thieves Town was the 7th crystal he got, he never really had a good opportunity to go do that.
Yeah, he
so
might
that
be
could lead him further off.
He might be using this to go to Bombos next and then right back up towards the Pyramid Fairy. And the interesting about Pod is these players might not remember that they didn't do the turtle room, so if it's behind that door, right south of the turtle room, they might just clear Pod and think it's done. Assuming they don't have the compass. If they have the compass, they'll be aware that they've missed a chest and they'll go right back.
That's right. So, TT, I kind of want to say he's still in the lead, but that lead is getting more and more tenuous as he doesn't find the big key and the others kind of catch up in terms of overworld spots checked.
Yep, if eLmaGus picks Pod right after this crystal pendant pickup, he will actually be leading DT. Just down silvers though. So DT finds what will likely be his last heart piece he gets. I'm assuming he'll have skipped one somewhere in the world. I don't think DT went to Catfish yet, actually, did he?
Possibly not.
So another difficult thing about this type of seed is you're almost 2 hours in here. It's hard to remember specifically what you've chosen to skip and what you've gone back to after you've skipped it.
So, eLmaGus now making the play directly to Pod, not going into ice just yet. Probably gambling on the fact that, or banking on the fact that, yeah, I found the big key for Pod in Ganon's tower. That probably leads to my big key. That puts him ahead of DT at this point.
And with no one finishing yet, he might also be making the assumption that other people would have already gone into ice, so there's no way it should be there.
That's right. That's certainly a thing that starts to enter runners' minds when they're an hour and 58 minutes in and they haven't seen a victory.
Yeah, I know some runners like to just turn off SRL chat until they're ready to go, but I don't think many do that, so I would assume that eLmaGus has the knowledge that no one has finished yet.
eLmaGus going to give us a nice little hammer jump over here. For 20 rupees in the big key chest. And leaving. Does not have a small key to take on Helmasaur, I think.
That is really unfortunate.
Yeah, he's out of keys. And as soon as DT menus here, we will see something. We'll see whether or not he has that other small key that he needs. I think he does based on what we've seen in terms of things he's collected.
Yeah, I believe he has at least one. He has two.
So, eLmaGus now diving into Ice Palace, where I think one of those last keys for Pod was hiding.
I will have absolutely no idea at this point in time. It's kind of a mystery to me.
Chat's agreeing that I think small key was in there. The other one might have been on Death Mountain somewhere, or possibly... No, not Spike Cave, but we'll see. Either way, eLmaGus is going to get silver arrows when he completes this and beats Cold Stare, but that's going to set him back. Meanwhile, Jenja's just kicking butt at Trinex.
Yeah,
Gets
that'll be his
7th
7th crystal.
And gamercal's making his way through Rando Room, going to be faced with that similar decision pretty soon.
Probably the most
gamercal.
depressing rando rooms ever.
Yeah. gamercal has cleared out Ice Palace, so the option will be there to, potentially go straight to Palace of Darkness for gamercal.
DT might be heading straight to Helma, because he just got the other chest, I believe.
Oh, and Jenja's heading back into Turtle Rock to get those 2 chests that were fire rod locked. I think waiting to make sure that he didn't find the Ganon's Tower big key on Trinex before he started checking other chests.
It's an interesting decision. He also might have just forgotten. It's not often that you full clear T-Rock without the fire rod.
No, it certainly isn't.
I can't wait to see DT's item count at the end in the credits to see how many chests he's looted.
I'm thinking at this point, there can't be a single spot left, as far as we know, that he hasn't checked.
Yeah, it'll just be a couple torches and floating items that he saw and was like, nope.
That's right. There's a small key for Dark Palace for eLmaGus. But DT's making his way to Helmasaur. So yeah, if you are just joining us, all runners made it all the way to Ganon's Tower, found big keys for both Mire and Palace of Darkness, and only at that point did they have access to the big key, which we are pretty sure In the Name of DT is going to pick up here.
And there it is.
And get into go mode at 2 hours and 3 minutes into this monster of a seed that all runners have come very close to 100% completing.
Yeah, there's going to be very few skipped items. Pedestal, the Ganon's Tower torch was skipped as well because they saw it was nothing. So most of the players here will finish the seed with probably like 250, 240, somewhere around there in the items checked.
Yeah, so much that they've had to do, and I personally would like to apologize to all runners in this race at this point. I did call the double big key split earlier, and I'm sorry I did that. It was too cruel to make them sit through that.
I may have called this terrible GT nonsense before we started. Not the big key terribleness, but the GT big key being GT or farther.
We should stop referencing to this. I would prefer not to be blackballed by any of these runners from their commentary.
I didn't say anything. It was Willard.
Funny, I was going to blame him too. So gamercal has made the split to Mire, unfortunately. Now I'm curious what gamercal's key situation looks like.
Yeah, we'll have to wait for the next. Oh no, DT.
Oh, getting hit or getting dead rocked at just the most obnoxious spot.
I don't think I've ever seen that because he picked up the rock and then immediately ran underneath it.
And Jenya's picking up his small keys and starting to get, or his big keys and starting to get an idea of what's going on, slashing the heck out of that chest. No, I don't want your misery mire key. Well, eLmaGus will at least get some silvers out of this.
That moment we've all been waiting for is an actual gauntlet.
That's right, several minutes. I don't know how many minutes after DT got his 7th crystal, he is finally entering the gauntlet. Should take him less than 5 minutes at this point to complete. And
Yeah,
this is we're gonna see some great execution.
He's got pretty much the perfect toolkit for this now.
You know, he's only got 19 hearts and red mail. Do you think he'll be able to make it up?
I don't know. The lack of a mirror shield really should have pulled that pedestal.
I mean, he does have all pendants.
He does. That would be a cruel thing to do, is set the Keysanity to all dungeons requiring Ega 1.
Alright, so DT making quick work. eLmaGus back in the Palace of Darkness now. He is going to go straight to Helmasaur, it looks like. I'm thinking he might even have checked that harmless hellway, as we call it, the room south of Turtles.
Believe he has, as his item count is 13 out of 14.
Yeah. So he'll be getting his big key a couple minutes after DT does. As gamercal finishes off Vitreous, making quick work with silver arrows, and realizes, oh no, it wasn't here. But I think Cal now knows it has to be in pod. As Jenya gets that other small key and is just out of there. Oh, then realizes he may not have done tile room.
Unfortunately, it would have been a little better if you just completely forgot about it.
From Jenya's perspective, I don't understand going back in. It's always that one location you forget that has the item you need. We saw it earlier from him. Now, oh, gamercal has never checked the lumberjack cave before, and at this point is starting to think,
so terrible.
Hang on, the key is not there, is it?
He would have been so unhappy.
DT opening all the chests for good measure, getting his Quake medallion, getting a map of Swamp Palace, and confirm that's a crystal.
At this point, he's just trying to see how big that number can get.
I think so.
Credits.
Even turning into a bunny just to pick up that last map.
Yeah. The most amazing part, I think, is going to be that he will be potentially fighting Ganon before the first runner of this finishes, and he has checked every location.
Yeah, at that point, it's some incredible routing and some incredible execution to be so efficient in all the locations that he's checked. I mean, all 4 runners that we see, a small key for Ice Palace at the end.
Oh boy.
All 4 runners that we see here, and probably the rest of the 44 racing, all of them, I'm sure, have come close to 100%ing this seed. But to be so far ahead of other runners is really impressive from In the Name of DT. That said, Big Dunka is the winner of this 44-person race with a first place time of 2 hours, 9 minutes, 47 seconds. So GG and congratulations to him. As he comments in SRL chat, best Keysanity ever.
don't think many of the runners will agree.
Kyong now finishing in second place. So DT not going to win the race overall, but certainly going to come out on top in these 4 runners.
Yeah, substantial lead for DT in this one.
Maximum Barnage finishing in third place. The winning time, once again, was from Big Dunka with a time of 2 hours, 9 minutes, 47 seconds. And you're right, eLmaGus just entering the top of Ganon's tower as DT begins his Ganon fight. gamercal on his way to take out Helmasaur and get that big key. And Jenja, like every other racer we've seen, going to Misery Mire instead of Palace of Darkness.
It seems like the right place to go to these runners. I don't blame them at all.
Yeah, in hindsight at this point, it's very easy for us to sit here and say, yeah, these runners are making the wrong play going to Mire, but you know, from their perspective, and especially DT's with so many chests in Mire, it seemed like a good play.
Yeah, it was 50-50 for most of them, and a lot more than that for DT.
So yes, Ganon, we did find the ice arrows, or the silver arrows in Ice Palace. All the way down at Gold Stair, not required, but every runner picking them up anyways. DT gets that torch glitch.
Interesting splash there.
Has Ganon move away anyways, just a bit.
That'll be that for DT.
So congratulations to DT, who did finish this race in 4th place with an official time of 2 hours, 12 minutes and 14 seconds. Yagamoth close behind in 5th with a time of 2 hours, 12 minutes and 33 seconds. Great job all around to all of these runners as gamercal gets that big key.
Now, did eLmaGus mirror before picking up the pendant? So that would be quite entertaining.
And we're going to switch over to gamercal's audio while he finishes this race up.
We will not get audio from eLmaGus and Jenja, as I believe they both have regular sounds for their stream going.
And we're gonna see if we can get In the Name of DT in here to say a few things about this seed. Hopefully some nice things, in addition to some of his other less friendly things. On that note, all these runners have given an amazing performance tonight and were very brave to get restreamed in front of all of you. If you enjoy what you see from them, they are racing rando every day. Feel free to give them a follow if you like what you see.
I don't think I have the ability to. No, I can't pull DT in, unfortunately.
Me neither. We'll see what we can do about that.
There he is.
There he is. In the Name of DT. GG, congratulations.
Thank you. That was a lot of fun. I've only played about 5 or 6 Keysanity seeds, and I love every single one of them.
I was definitely a wild one on that one. You happen to pick about every perfect direction to go to get all those chests, and take a great lead over all the other runners on our restream.
You were, in fact, the only one who got to one touch Turtle Rock. Every other runner had to double dip it.
You know, I just felt a little uneasy about going in without the ice rod. I know that there's a very good chance of needing to double dip it in other seeds. Like, I had one a couple days ago where the Swamp Palace big key was on the laser bridge, and I had to go there to get the last Turtle Rock small key. So, I mean, I know the possibilities of things, but I don't know, I just didn't want to do it this time.
Well, it certainly gave you a bit of a leg up there.
Yep, a lot of the runners chose not even to go into pod to get the bow, so they didn't have the fire rod on their first trip.
I'm trying to remember where the fire rod was, but yeah, seeing the bow in the top of the dark maze was... I mean, I actually stopped for a moment. I literally didn't know what to do for about a second. I was like, what is this?
Well, the thing to do was go right side in pod and get the fire rod from there, so it worked out pretty nicely.
Oh, that's right, that's where fire rod was.
Yeah, and you had...
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was all set to mirror out of there after opening that chest, and then as soon as I got the bow, my brain scrambled for a moment. It's like, had to quickly recalculate it, rethink it.
Yeah, because of that early bow that you picked up, which you were able to do from hammer yumping, you had the fire rod maybe 10-20 minutes before any other runner we saw.
Oh wow, that's a big chunk of time. I think one of my favorite sequences about this entire thing was fake powdering to get the lantern, to then turn in the mushroom to go to desert, to get the boots.
Yeah, that worked out really well for you. I think it was gamercal that pulled a similar trick, doing that glitch at Magic Bat as well. And you know, normally that's such a marginal strategy, and it gave you a huge boost tonight.
Yeah, I was thinking there's no way this is going to be anything. It never is, and then, hey, lantern.
eLmaGus will kill Ganon here for the second place finish on our restream, 9th overall with a 2:17.15.
Great work from him as well. So, DT, as you were going through the basement of Ganon's tower, you know, you find one big key, you find the other. What was going through your head as you saw those possibilities start to add up for the final big key?
I just thought this is typical. It's gonna happen. So I was thinking though, do I go to Mire first, because I got the big key for that, and for Pod? Do I go to Mire, Pod, or I still have the Swamp Big Chest? And obviously you saw I put Pod off until the very end. At that point, Mire having by far the largest number of item locations out of the three options.
Oh no, gamer kill!
It was silly. That suffice to say, it was silly.
Oof, get him unstuck there. That was terrifying.
Yeah, that was almost
got
really
him
bad.
Wedged on the pegs, and he was most likely going to have to mirror out of the gauntlet, but he able to throw a fire rod at a weird spot, and it just happened to clip a rod somehow, or the switch. Oh, here we go. The chest count I've been dying to see. 200 out of 216.
Congratulations, DT. You checked 161 out of 160 chests.
Yeah, I'm just seeing that in my own credits. That's amazing.
I think that's just a case of the number on the right hasn't been entirely updated in later versions.
Yeah, these credits have not been really changed since FE7, so they're a little outdated in times. Most importantly, the floor items used to not be randomized, and now they are. By floor items, I meant keys. Torch keys, floor keys, etc.
So DT, you clearly know your way around a Keysanity seed. finishing 4th overall in this race. If there's anyone out here who's watching Keysanity for the first time and wondering how the heck they can get into it, any recommendations for them?
I mean, just keep going. Just don't stop moving. Keep going for those item locations that are nearby. You're gonna find keys. You're gonna find items, of course. If you get 1 or 2 small keys for pod, but you've got like 4 more locations on your way, keep going. Maybe you'll find a 3rd key for pod in that path. Really, just keep moving.
Well, great advice, and it does point out that, you know, Keysanity looks intimidating, but people can take it on if they're up for it. Looks like eLmaGus is going to join us just as soon as we can get him moved into this chat. And there's eLmaGus. GG on that race.
Thanks. Oh man, what a seed! Cool seed, right?
Definitely was an interesting one.
What was your favorite part of that circuitous route the game threw you on, eLmaGus?
The route was cool. Like, I really like these kind of things, honestly. Like these really crazy kind of things with the big keys and stuff. I just kind of maneuvered myself out of the race with pod. My pod was garbage overall. Like, I wasted a small key there very early, which, like, I blame that it's late here. But yeah, I just opened a key door. I'm like, I should bomb jump. Why didn't I do that? And that ultimately that cost me, because I was already in pod just for the big chest, and I couldn't beat Helmasaur because I didn't do ice yet. And there was a small key there, so if I had that small key, I would have found the big key earlier. But yeah, I really enjoyed that though. Like, I like that kind of stuff.
Gamercal finished up 14th place overall with a 2:21.41 for 3rd on the restream.
Yeah, so as we mentioned, almost 2.5 hours ago now, you know, these 4 runners all know what they're doing, finishing in the top portion of the 44-person race. Even Jenja now almost up to the Moldorm fight. So great work from all these runners. Again, if you enjoy watching them, give them a follow. eLmaGus, I'll ask you the same question I asked DT. When you were going through the basement of Ganon's tower, how worried were you? What were you starting to plan for how you'd finish the rest of the seed?
I finished. I deliberately left ice because I didn't want to go in there, even though I had a huge suspicion that something was in there, but I didn't have silver, so I was kind of like, okay, ice might have the silvers. So what I was going to do is I was full clearing GT, no matter what. Like, if I don't find the big key, I'm going out, and then I'll finish. Probably, I was kind of expecting the big keys to Mire and Pod, to be honest, and I was going to do that first. But I forgot about my small key and Pod, so I had to go back out, just open the big chest, and then I had to eventually go to ice, sadly. And yeah, that was kind of like, I mean, after like somebody typed .time, and it was like 2 hours, I'm like, okay, it actually can't be an ice. Somebody would be done by now. So, I don't know. Yeah.
What on earth was that?
Is that gamercal?
What was that?
That is Gamercal.
That's no way to come back after like 3 weeks not playing this. What was that?
So gamercal, tell us how you really feel about that seed.
The lamp play was pretty. That was about it. That's about the only good thing I did this seed, I feel.
Yeah, the Samaria glitch there for the lamp was actually a really good play. DT also making that play, and it made a great advancement towards the progression.
It was just one of those things of I had suspicions of GT having big key for itself. I didn't quite expect it to be like that. But oh well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I
Keep racing.
believe every runner had basically full cleared the entire game on the restream.
I want to know how many items I got here, because it's got to be over 200 on this one, surely.
Yeah, I'd missed eLmaGus's, but DT's was 200 out of 216.
I checked everything in the overworld. I only didn't check the big chest of Ice Palace. I got absolutely everything else, I'm convinced of it, and I missed 2 items in GT itself, chest and torch. So it's gotta be like over 200 with this, surely.
I have a question for you about a very end moment you chose to do after the Mire play. You went into Lumberjack Cave and double checked that. Did you check it earlier?
I didn't know, and it's like the only time that I didn't. I was like, I swear, I have the second key in this tower. If it is there, I'm gonna be so mad. Like, no, I somehow actually checked that at the start. So, yeah, that's what you get when you don't play for 3 weeks. But
This was definitely a rough Keysanity to play if you weren't looking to do 100%.
Yeah, I don't think I did too badly with stuff overall. Got kind of unlucky in a few places with like not doing the dark rooms in Palace of Darkness because I suck at doing that in reverse. So the dark maze. So I didn't do that. Didn't get the bow, which would have got me the fire rod if I got done that earlier. Not doing escape first, so I didn't get Eastern Palace big key before going there. That was kind of dumb. Just a lot of stuff like that. It's like the place I just gone to and just cleared out. I think Ice Palace Big Key was also kind of like that, where I got it literally the place after I went to do the dungeon. So fair few things like that kind of annoy me a bit, but it's fine.
Yeah, it was a lot of. I kept seeing it happen to several people. Just they get the item they needed right before or right after they had checked that location to begin with.
I mean, personally, I just love that Thieves Town map inside the pyramid. I will point out or mention at this point, Jenja has finished the race as well. He finished in 17th overall with a time of 2:26.21. So all
Nice.
4 runners finishing in the top third of these racers, roughly. Great job from all of you.
It's about all I can hope for, I guess. With something like this, where it's a case of pick your poison at the end,
Hopefully we can get. No, your count didn't come by yet. Okay, good.
201.
201. He beat you, DT. You lose. See if we can get Jenja in here for his interview as well. Hello, Jenja.
Hello, Jenja.
Hi.
Yo.
Happy birthday, everyone.
How are you feeling on that one?
I just feel empty. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even know what. I mean, everyone probably already talked about it. So.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I just got. I mean, the sea was terrible. No need to talk about it. But on top of that, I just got epic owned by my own stupidity, I guess.
It was almost every runner just kept getting the wrong item in the wrong order. It was just really unfortunate to watch.
I did feel like I had a good chain mid game at least, though. There was a bit that sort of went into each other kind of logically for a while. It was around about when this came in. It was the sort of tail end of that chain. It was like one thing leading to another. It's like, okay, that's fine. Picking up a little bit here, and then the lamp is still just such a silly flavor that should never work. But I wanted to turn the mushroom in. I was like, wait, I have Samaria. Let's do that thing first, and then first fire source.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, and like, there's no way this is gonna work, and it did.
All right, runners, do you have any final thoughts on this seed before we wrap things up tonight?
Well, the sanity part of Keysanity definitely wasn't there, but yeah, I don't know.
There were definitely a lot of keys.
Yes, a lot of keys.
You know, out of the few that I've played, they've generally been pretty good about the Ganon's Tower big key, and this one was by far the worst that I've played. I don't know about the rest of you guys, I don't know how much the routing was different, but I was hurting for big keys for a long time. I only had 3 or so for maybe the first hour even. 3 or 4. It seemed like forever until we picked up a few.
Yeah, same. Like, I think once I went into Turtle Rock, it got okay with big keys, then I could actually do dungeons, but before that, it was like... I also found the Swamp big key very early for no reason, and then I couldn't go in there. That was pretty fun. But yeah, other than that, I had... What did I have? Eastern, I think, and that's almost it. Pretty much.
Yep.
Now, the other thing I found very few of were maps, so any dungeon that I was clearing, I got very lucky finding crystals instead of pendants.
Yeah, all those maps came in at the end for you guys.
Yeah, I scouted Green Pendant at the start, so I knew that was Ice Palace, and I looked at my map at some point, and I saw Palace of Darkness as Red Pendant, so I was like, okay, basically everything else is going to be something I need to clear then, so let's just do it as is, and as it turns out, everything that you could clear was a crystal, so...
Yeah, I mean, it worked.
Did any one of you not triple dip pod?
4 dips, my friend. 4, because I'm a smart person. But yeah, that's just me. I
know I at least...
The thing is, in my first visit to pod, I missed both the fire rod and the bow.
Same.
I opened everything else, so...
I got the bow, but I didn't go back, and I mirrored out to Eastern, but then I forgot about the bow side, so I had to go back for the fire rod eventually, and then yeah.
I'm pretty sure I only went in there twice. I guess just one final note from me was that if anybody was curious why I was still checking chests at the top of Ganon's Tower, I noticed that I was only 1 heart piece away from getting 20 hearts for the first time in Randomizer.
That would have been great to see.
Well, I have 201 out of the 216 chests. That's
Yo, we tied.
Nice.
You guys are the real winners.
Yeah, no, I will admit I opened the chest at the top of the tower not because I was looking for that heart piece necessarily, but because I wanted to make sure I had over 200 items here. Because this is like the only opportunity I'm really going to get for that, because even normal seeds, you don't tend to find that at all. So, you know, this is the only chance I've had to have over 200, so I'm like, whatever. I was tempted to even go and pull the pedestal since I'd already seen 3 or 4 had finished. I knew what was there, but and I knew it was useless, but I was tempted to do it just because I'd already done Maya before Palace Darkness and at the end. So, you know, times.
All right. Well, I think we'll finish it up there. Thanks to all 4 of these runners for agreeing to be restreamed and for hopping in to discuss the insanity that happened at the end of this seed. Again, if you enjoy what you see from these runners, be sure to give them a follow because they're always streaming. Thanks again to our great trackers, Terminal Crowbar, and he's left the chat, so I can't see his name anymore.
That's a great username. We should keep that one.
Drake Tempest was the other tracker tonight. Thanks to both of you for your incredible work. I've been Philian, and I will leave my co-commentator Futon with the last word.
It was a great race, everybody. Thanks for the run as well. And there will be a new daily race coming up in, I believe, 9 minutes. So be ready for more Randomizer. I'm not too sure which speed gaming channel that'll land on.
This one.
Ooh. So that's it for me. I will see you guys next time.